All right, thanks, guys. First of all, I want to say congratulations to all my Patreon members. We had another winning day yesterday. We went 3-2 in our premium selection, so you guys should be proud of yourselves. That's some great handicapping on your part, and we're going to go ahead and look to do the same today, if not better. It is Friday, so happy Friday to each and every one of you out there. The weekend is finally here. Some of you guys have even a more extended weekend. I know a lot of folks taking Friday through Monday off. I'm going to be going into the office today, but I don't have work Monday, so I'm going to be hitting the links. Maybe we'll do a little live stream on the links with Lamar Bowe as we get ready for the the NFL live stream season. But anyway, we got ourselves a nice juicy slate of Major League Baseball action here for Friday. So let's go ahead and dive into it, beginning with who do we got here, guys? We got the Brewers taking on the Cubs. That's going to be a 2:20 Eastern first pitch at Wrigley Field in Chicago. The Cubbies are minus 145, totals 8.5. Now, we did see a nickel move towards Chicago in the early wagering here. No movement on the total as of yet. Once again, the Cubbies open $1.40 up to 145. Total open and remains at 8.5. 62% of the consensus is leaning towards Chicago. And at the moment, the Brewers are plus 130 on the money line. We have Chase Anderson for the Brewers, Jose Quintana for the Cubs. Quintana's 11-8 on the year, 134 strikeouts. Anderson on the other side comes into this game with a 4.34 ERA, 1.27 WHIP. The Brewers are just 29-36 when traveling this year. They've lost their last 5 straight at Wrigley Field. They rank 25th in offensive strikeouts and 28th in walks allowed. Now, the Cubbies on the other side, they're 2.5 games ahead for that second wildcard spot. So if the season ended today, they would be in the tournament. They're 72-61 overall for the year, 44-22 at Wrigley Field, and they rank 5th in runs allowed at home. So with all that said and done, I'm going to lean toward the Cubbies minus 145 and the over 8.5 runs in that game. And before we go ahead and move on, just want to take another quick time out and just welcome you to the show. Got some lines of personal leans out for Friday's Major League Baseball action. Once again, the weekend is finally here. I know I'm feeling good. Just want to remind you real quick to check me out on my website, patreon.com/BrockPage. Once again, had a great day as a unit here yesterday, guys. We went 3-2 in our premium selections on that site. It's going to put us at 10-6 in our last 16 board member plays. That's 63%. If you're in that top tier package, that board member everything package, you're hitting 63%. If you invested your money in that package. We're also 51-35, 51-35-1 in our last 87 daily double plays. So we got a bunch of different memberships and packages on that site. They begin at just $1.99 per month, and fortunately, they're winning right now. We're red hot. So my advice to you, if you're watching this maybe for the first time or the second time, my advice to you is to tail the hot capper, whether it's myself or somebody else on YouTube. If the capper's hot, man, you got to get on board with them and tail them. Once again, my website is patreon.com/BrockPage. Link is in the description section below. There's also plenty of free content there as well, including my current record. All right, let's go ahead and get back into some more lines and personal leans. They are free right here on YouTube. And our next game is going to be the Athletics taking on the Yankees, 7:05 Yankee Stadium. The Yanks are minus 140, totals 11. We actually saw a nickel fade of the Yankees at home here in the early wagering. We also saw movement upward on the total. The Yankees open $1.45 down to 140. Total open 10.5 up to 11. 62% are leaning Yankees, 55% shaded toward the over. Right now, the A's are plus 130 on the money line. We have Brett Anderson for the A's, CC Sabathia for the Yankees. Sabathia has punched out 94 batters in 97 innings this year. Anderson on the other side for the Athletics comes into this matchup with a 4.08 ERA, 1.30 WHIP. The Yankees have the best record in Major League Baseball. They're 88-47 overall for the year, 41 games over 500. Winners in 5 out of their last 6 contests. They're also very good in the Bronx. They're 49-20 at home. They rank first in scoring, sixth in hits allowed at home. Now the A's on the other side, losers in 5 out of their last 6 in New York. They rank 17th in offensive hits, 27th in striking batters out, and 29th in striking batters out on the road, which is second to last in Major League Baseball. Now, total-wise, the A's are 4-2 to the over in their last 6, 80% to the over in their last 5 on the road. So with all that in mind, I'm going to lean Yankees minus 140 and the over 11 runs in that contest. Next matchup, Mets, Phils, 7:05 Citizens Bank Park, South Philly. The Phillies are minus 135, totals 8.5. We saw a 15-cent fade of Philadelphia and movement downward on the total. The Phillies open $1.50 down to 135, total open 9 down to 8.5. 63% are leaning Phillies, 68% shaded toward the over. Right now the Mets are plus $1.25 on the money line. The Phillies plus $1.55 on the run line. Pretty good matchup on the bump here, guys. We have Zach Wheeler for the Mets, Aaron Nola for the Phils. Now Wheeler comes into this game with a 9-7 record. He's also struck out 156 batters on the year. The Mets are 8-4 in their last dozen when traveling. They rank 8th in hits, 6th in striking batters out. They're also 4th in road hits. Now the fight in Phils on the other side, not cashing a whole lot of run line plays at home. They're just 29-40 against the spread at home. And of course, when I refer to the spread, ATS, covering the number, all that good stuff in Major League Baseball, I'm referring to the run line. So once again, the Phillies covered just 29 out of 69 at home this year. They're also 18th in home offensive strikeouts, 23rd in hits allowed. When it comes to the total, the Phillies are 4-2 to the over in their last 6. The Mets are 5-2 to the over in their last 7, taking on the Phils. I'm going to lean New York Mets plus 1.5 and the over 8.5 runs in that contest. Next matchup, Marlins, Nationals, 7:05 Nation's Capital. The Nats are minus 240, totals 9.5. We saw a nickel move toward Washington and movement downward on the total. The Nats open 235 up to 240, total open 10 down to 9.5. 75% are leaning Nationals, 53% shaded toward the over. Right now the Marlins are plus 220 on the money line. We have Eliezer Hernandez for the Marlins, Anibal Sanchez for the Nats. Sanchez is 8-6 with a 3.81 ERA. He also struck out 110 batters. Hernandez on the other side, just 3-5 on the year, 4.97 ERA, 1.22 WHIP. The Nats are 2.5 games ahead for that first wildcard spot in the National League. They're 74-58 overall, winners in 6 out of their last 7. The Marlins on the other side, losers in 9 out of their last 10 in Washington. They've also dropped their last 10 straight when traveling this year. I'm going to lean Nationals minus 1.5 and the over 9.5 runs in that game. Next matchup, Astros, Blue Jays, 7:07 Toronto. The Stros are minus 200, totals 10.5. We saw a 20-cent move toward Houston and movement downward on the total. The Astros open 180 up to minus 200, total open 11 down to 10.5. 72% are leaning Astros, 57% shaded toward the over. Right now the Blue Jays are plus 180 on the money line. The Astros minus $1.35 on the run line. We have Wade Miley for the Stros, Trent Thornton for the Blue Jays. Thornton's just 4-8 with a 5.34 ERA and a 1.52 WHIP. Miley on the other side, 13-4 on the year, 3.13 ERA, 1.20 WHIP. He's also punched out 129 batters. Now, the Blue Jays have won just 26 out of 66 at home this year. They've also dropped 8 out of their last 10 at any location. The Astros are first in hits allowed, first in striking batters out. And when it comes to the total, the Blue Jays are 80% to the under in their last 5 in Toronto. I'm going to lean Houston minus 1.5 and the under 10.5 runs. Next game, Indians, Rays, 9-10 Tampa Bay. This game's currently off the board. I don't know why. I guess maybe because of the hurricane coming in. I think that's going to land tomorrow. I'm not sure. But anyway, obviously I'm not in Tampa now. I know a couple months ago I had a very significant stint in Tampa Bay. Beautiful town, beautiful city. I know a couple of you subscribers out there live in Tampa or live in that kind of that South Florida region. I love it down there. I absolutely love it. But anyway, this game is currently off the board, but we do have some probables. We have Shane Bieber for the Indians, Austin Pruitt for the Rays. Pruitt comes into this game with a 5.57 ERA and a 1.36 whip for the Rays. Now Bieber on the other side for the Indians, 12-6 on the year, 3.23 ERA, 1.01 whip. He's also struck out 215 batters in 175 innings pitched. Cleveland's 1.5 games ahead in that first wild card spot. They're 79-55 overall, winners in 5 out of their last 6. They also rank second in runs allowed on average per game, fourth in hits allowed, first in walks allowed at home. Now the Rays on the other side, losers in 4 out of their last 5. They're also just 26-39 ATS at home. I'm going to lean Cleveland winning that one outright for some money line cash. And of course, when I was down in Tampa, I know a couple guys were upset that I didn't hit them up, slide into their DMs, and hang out. And it was interesting. I was out with some coworkers when the Lightning were in the playoffs. Game 1, opening day of the playoffs, and they lost. They lost that game. They actually got swept in that series, but it was Game 1, and everybody, I was at World of Beer in Tampa, and everybody was shocked. But anyway, let's go ahead. Yes, that mug says Boss Lady. That is that's my wife's mug. All right. Let's go ahead and slide into our next game, and it is going to be Twins-Tigers, 7:10 Detroit. Of course, this game is off the board as well. We have Gibson for the Twins, Ed Jackson for the Tigers. Edwin Jackson for the Tigers. Eddie Jackson for the Tigers. Eddie Jackson comes into this game with a 3-7 record, 8.70 ERA, and a 1.87 whip. Kyle Gibson on the other side for the Twins, 12-6 on the year, 141 strikeouts. The Tigers are the worst team in baseball. The Twins are second in road scoring, first in road hits. Give me Minnesota -1.5, getting the job done for some run line cash. Next game, White Sox, Braves, 7:20 Atlanta. The Braves are the $2 favorite. Totals at 9.5. We saw a nickel move toward the Braves. No movement on the total. Atlanta open $1.95 up to -200. Totals 9.5. 75% leaning toward the Braves. 63% shaded toward the over. Right now the White Sox are +180 on the money line. The Braves -$1.05 on the run line. We have Ivan Nova for the White Sox. Max Fried for the Braves. Fried comes into this game with a 14-4 record. 139 strikeouts. Nova on the other side, just 9-10 on the year, 4.37 ERA, 1.37 whip. Chicago's dropped 4 out of their last 5. They've also won just 27 out of 65 away from home. They've also won just 40 out of 100 contests as the official underdog. And the fact that they were the underdog for 100 games already this year is, baffling. One more thing to add about the White Sox. They are 28th in scoring on average per game. Now, the Braves on the other side, completely different story. They're 7th in scoring, 9th in hits, winners in 9 out of their last 11 ball games. They're in first place in the NL East. Now, total-wise, the Braves are 10-40 the over in their last 14, taking on the White Sox. If you're into historical trends, I know I like to throw some historical trends in there every now and then. So give me the Braves -1.5 and the over 9.5 runs. Next game, Mariners, Rangers, 8:05 Texas. The Rangers are -130, totals 10.5. We saw a 20-cent move toward Texas and movement downward on the total. Kind of pissed at myself I didn't catch Texas at a better price point. But anyway, once again, the Rangers open $1.10 up to -130. Total open 11 down to 10.5. 63% are leaning Rangers, 56% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Mariners are +120 on the money line. The Rangers +$1.45 on the run line. We have Marco Gonzalez for the Mariners, Colby Allard for the Rangers. Allard's 2-0 with 23 strikeouts and just 21 innings pitched. Gonzalez on the other side for the Mariners comes into this matchup with a 4.17 ERA, 1.34 whip. The Mariners are in dead last in the AL West. They're just 57-78 overall for the year, 21 games under 500. They've also dropped 8 out of their last 11 in Arlington. They rank 27th in hits, 28th in offensive strikeouts. They're also 28th in runs allowed and last in striking batters out. Now, the Rangers have been pretty good at home this year at Globe Life Park. 38-28 at home, 4th in home scoring, 7th in home hits. And when it comes to the total, the Mariners are 42-24 to the over when traveling. I'm going to lean toward the Rangers, -130, and the over 10.5 in that game. Next matchup, Reds, Cards, 8:15 St. Louis. The Cards are -115, totals 8.5. Not a whole lot of movement on the total as of yet. We did see a 10-cent fade of the Cardinals in the early wagering. St. Louis open $1.25 down to 115. Total opening remains at 8.5. 63% are leaning Cardinals, 56% shaded toward the over. Right now the Reds are plus 105 on the money line. The Cards plus $1.75 on the run line. We have Trevor Bauer for Cincinnati, Dakota Hudson for the Cards. Hudson comes into this game with a 13-6 record, 3.47 ERA, 106 strikeouts. Bauer on the other side, 10-11 on the year, 4.34 ERA. The Cards are in first place in the NL Central. They're 1.5 games ahead of Chicago for the first place spot. They're 73-59 overall for the year, and they've won 10 out of their last 11 games at Busch Stadium. Now the Reds on the other side, a little bit different story. Winners in just 3 out of their last 10 when traveling. They've also won just 31 out of 76 as the underdog. The Reds are 23rd in scoring on the road, and when it comes to the total, the Reds are 4-2 to the over in their last 6. So with all that said and done, I'm going to lean Cardinals minus 115 and the over 8.5 in that game. Next matchup, Baltimore Royals, 8:15 Kauffman Stadium, Kansas City. Baltimore's minus 130 with the total at 9.5. We don't have a confirmed probable for Baltimore. I've seen sites that say Dylan Bundy. I've seen other sites that say John Means. So you guys have to let me know in the comment section below who's starting today. Now it looks like we have Eric Skoglund for the Royals. Let's put it this way. Baltimore has lost 8 out of their last 9 on the road. They've won just 6 out of their last 20 at any location, and they have the second fewest wins in the American League. Now they're 26th in scoring, last in runs allowed. When it comes to the total, Kansas City is 80% to the over in their last 5. I really like this price point. I don't know if this will flip or not. I don't even know if I got the right price point on this one. But with all that said and done, I got to lean KC catching the plus money at home. Give me the Royals plus $1.20 and the over 9.5 in that matchup there.